What? There were some really good cards from the read from last night. It just talked about a lot of new beginnings here, as you guys can see. It talked about you being in your emperor energy. It talked about you realizing that you're your own greatest gift. It talks about you receiving pleasure, but a different kind of pleasure than normal. This is like a pleasure of like real stuff. You know what I mean? Like real stuff that matters. Not just like temporary, like, oh whoop de whoop, I got fucked today type shit. This is like satisfaction. And somebody I knew, he said, Tara, maybe you'd be a lot happier if you start looking for happiness instead of satisfaction. And that's another thing that just made me think, happiness instead of pleasure. When you find true happiness, you just like light up and you glow. My hair's getting long. Look at that shit. I actually always keep it over my shoulder, so this is weird for me. You have new beginnings here. It looks like the people like from your past are just gonna run into a tower, and I don't usually get a good feeling. You also have new beginnings, but I don't usually get a good feeling when I see the tower. I gotta do my nails, don't judge me. I've been like trying to do it myself, so I'm like a work in progress. I don't do it myself to save the money. I don't actually like to feel to touch much. And I'm kind of a tomboy that just like, I don't know, I'm like weird. I grew up on a farm and I have girly traits and tomboy traits. So I don't really like people touch me that much. But you have a lot of good things in your future, I see here. So that was just from last night. So we're gonna actually pull new cards from this morning, but I just want to share that with you guys. For those of you who have just been doing a lot of hard work, on your life, and I see that you just have a lot of beautiful colors here in this tower. Like I was gonna say, it's not really resembling a negative thing. It's not saying that bad things are gonna happen to any of your enemies. It's just saying that for once people are going to see, they're going to go through a tower moment because they're going to realize that they've lost you. And they're going to realize that they're going through a lesson, honestly, that you were there to teach them. And that lesson was that they couldn't just treat people however they wanted. And that you'll be just fine, on your own if you were to walk away. So those are all great cards there. Get those out of the way. And we will pull some new ones. First one I do see is the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. I see here also that somebody could have stabbed you in the back. You could have fell for somebody, honestly, that, yeah, I see the Fool here too. I feel like somebody fooled you. Some of you guys could have been with somebody who was literally just using you. Yeah, we have a Secrets card here too. Somebody's just using you, it looks like, for some of you guys. I'm going to pull some out of the other box. This person, they are coming up as a page, but they're also coming up as a page in a reverse. So anytime you're dealing with somebody who's kind of like coming from a place of lack, you guys, they're going to be in a place of need. And no matter what, they're gonna end up needing things. And when you're struggling, you can bet that they're gonna end up needing to use you in some way, whether it's for a ride. And this doesn't mean that there's like that they don't have the potential to be a good person, but it definitely says that they're going to be coming from a place of need. And when you're dealing with somebody from a place of need, you're just putting yourself slightly at risk to have less. Whether you voluntarily give them a ride or they just keep fucking asking you over and over for shit. But this one is coming up as a reversed page. Anytime I see reverse, I just think you're in a state of the darkness. And we've all went back and forth between the two. And so some days, we when I say from a place of need, that's just like me just kind of just trying to be understanding and kind to the point. The fact that, when we're in our lower vibrations, we do things that you wouldn't do in your higher vibrations. And that's just something that right up top you can just be aware of. This is going to happen when somebody's without an inner page. And when we talk about pages, we talk about pages being people that don't have their houses, their cars, their jobs, their license. So that's just a page for you. Whether somebody's a page or a knight or an empress, and all that, that still doesn't determine their maturity levels. So when you're dealing with somebody with different maturity levels, we talk about trauma on our channel a lot. We talk about the brain, and we talk about how it affects the way that this person's going to respond to things that they dislike. Meaning, when we talk about the brain, when somebody goes through a state of trauma in their younger age, let's just say we're talking about you divorcing your parents. If you if that really affected you, you're going to kind of stop emotionally developing and responding at that age. So, like we were saying last night, if you're dealing with somebody who throws things and is punching things and breaking things, they might have seen not only just their parent kind of doing that shit or somebody around them doing that shit at a younger age, but it's going to be at that age that they saw that's where they're going to stop kind of like developing, and that's how they're going to be treating you. So if they never learned how to go to work and make money, and they were also in a state of like a dysfunctional household, where they didn't have money, maybe. And stealing's also a habitual thing. Like, stealing can be something that's done because people need it, and stealing can also be done because it's habitual. It's very difficult to just like get things for free, and it's almost like a rush for the kids that use the LOL dolls. Stealing is similar to that because you don't really know what you're going to get and how much value it will be. And so between the two, even if it's something that you're against, because I know a lot of people are super against stealing, um, I've had a lot of time to break down the psychology. I like to break down all of the ways of thinking that people go through when they go through these things, so that I can actually be more open minded, and it helps me to understand things better. And I've also been in situations where I was certain I wouldn't do things, and then I ended up fucking doing it and doing it way worse than I even fucking judged other people for doing it. So I'm kind of humbled now. And so with the stealing thing, I can tell you, like, yeah, it's just definitely habitual. It's anything that we do, the brain will download and program within a 2 month period. So that's just how the brain works. The brain's more like an SD card. It's not really your IQ or who you are in your identity. But when your body becomes accustomed to the way that the rush feels. So it's like this whole overall thing. And so the more you understand maturity levels, you understand trauma and how it affects people, and it stops them from doing things in a more mature way. If somebody's dad fucking and mom broke up, or they would fight all the time when this kid was little, this kid pretty much stopped developing as far as like their want or need or understanding to become more mature in their problem solving skills at that age. So that starts a lot of people really young. It also does that with people who start to use drugs and alcohol. I've had some clients that fucking their parents started using with them at 6 years old. 6 years old. That child said that their mom was straight smoking some fucking weed out of a bong driving down the street, and literally handed it to him at 6 on accident, but then laughed it off and they kept doing it. So that child in particular, same thing. I've had another one tell me they were out at the lake with their cousins, 5, 6 years old there too. Their bigger cousins giving them alcohol. Right there, that kid stopped fucking developing and having those problem resolution skills until right now, where somebody would teach them, hey, it's okay, let's go back to that age. And now we're gonna have to start from 6 on and really pretend like we're teaching a 6 year old how to do things differently. And at that point, that's just a option. This person, okay, you've heard that habit. It says it's a lot easier to take the time and be patient, no matter how frustrating it is, to teach somebody and make sure that they learn how to do something the correct way. Because it is like it's even harder for somebody to program in a habit and then change it later. So that's what you're dealing with here. It's not really a case of right or wrong at this point. And then also, there's tons of people that don't have any food and they don't have anywhere to live. They're gonna need shit. And then, anybody can say, oh, fucking this person needs to get a job, they need to do whatever, yeah, sure they do. But let's be honest there. We already know how hard it is for all of us to fucking make ends meet. And if, in my opinion, if you don't start at the age that God asks you to start working, which is pretty much like school is where you start. If you're not somebody who's used to going to school and fucking literally just spending those 8 hours there and being responsible, you don't go to work and want to be there. You don't have a state of rooted responsibility. So you're going to know that it's somebody that didn't really care about school, you know? It's like an overall thing. And the point of this here is that you're going to have to be aware. You're going to have to be aware of pages and nights. And you also need to be aware of when they're in their downright and their upright. Because the truth is that nobody's going to protect you anymore, honey. Nobody can protect anyone anymore. It's to each their own. And the reason for that is because in order for us to even be attracting to each other, that's like correct, we have to be pure. We're gonna have to be clean and sober. Realistically, we're talking divine here. We're not talking fucking okay or like better than yesterday. We're talking truly divine. To be truly divine and pure, we would have to be clean and sober. We would have to be healed, and we would have to have our basics in order because you have to be complete before you start dating. That doesn't mean 50-50. It means complete. And so they say in the tarot that we need to be at a 9 of cups. And we have to be healed, and we have to be pure, and we have to be genuine. And it also includes now synchronicity. So are any of those things something that all of us are doing at all times? Especially when trying to make friends and trying to date. So instead of just being like, oh, this person's messing me over, why don't we just start thinking like that? If you want to enjoy yourself and you want to have pleasure, you may, but it's still not divine, even when I do it. We know what divine is. We know what it is. And we have to be godly. And so we can take as much time as we want to become that or waste that time out, you know what I mean? Your life moves at the pace you push it. That's what I say. That's what I say. You don't have to do anything. God doesn't make us do anything. But, you know, it's like, to be honest, we can't really complain when all these knives go in your back right here. We can't really complain when we find out their secrets, when we feel like a fool, you know, because all of those things that we listed, that takes a lot of effort. And that's okay. I'm okay with saying that out loud, but when I realized that it takes all of that, after researching tarot, I thought, damn, that's a lot of shit, dude. But that's okay, you know? I know that I'm like strong enough to do it. It's just, are we committed enough to do it? That's the thing. Are you committed to yourself? Are we truly? You know, at the end of the day, you know what's interesting is that it really comes down to the fact that we don't want to commit to respecting our own self. That's what it is. We allow others to disrespect us, straight up. Unless you're just willing to say, I'm a little bitch and I'm so ignorant. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm so dumb, for one, because I don't believe it. For one, I can break it down and figure out exactly where the fuck I went wrong with shit. It's my special talent of fucking being fucking honest with myself all the time. I've never been able to fucking be a dumbass and fucking pretend like I didn't know what the fuck I did wrong. God's made me smart enough to fucking know what to do. That's why I never got baptized yet in a church, because fucking I actually wasn't going to commit to any of the rules. Not all of them. There were some that were good and some that were not. And I've also never got married because I don't feel like so far I found somebody that, you know, that I would want to commit to 100%. And I'm not going to put myself in a situation to fucking lie. You know, and that's where you gotta ask yourself, are you putting yourself in situations to fucking bullshit yourself and then pretend like you're being fucked over? You guys, you know, this is the second time this has come up, but I went through a chapter myself where I fucking kept going through these shitty ass relationships. I would also relapse, and then I would get better, and I would clean everything up. I would even have some years where it was like 2 years clean. I even had a 10-year clean, had a 3-year clean. And then I would get in another shitty relationship. It was like, it basically, every time I would have a setback, it pretty much went the same fucking way. And then I would clean it back up the same fucking way. And after several of these, I just was sitting there one day and I realized, dude, you're doing circles. You're doing fucking circles, bro. You're sitting here patting yourself on the back. Literally, I had convinced myself that I had done a good job over and over and over. And I was on a repeat cycle. no matter how great I did, you know, and yes, there were some other things that I did, obviously, in between each chapter. I graduated college, I became a teacher, I bought a house, I did some magnificent things through each chapter. But what was really the setback? It was relapse and toxic relationship, relapse and toxic relationship. And then what was the way that I coped with it and dealt with it to move forward? Throwing myself into some kind of outrageous program, career, trade, school, whatever it was that I did as a healing mechanism, it required me to give so much attention that I wouldn't have had time to think about my last thing. And so I was using another accomplishment to make myself feel like I was better. Some of you guys may do that. I bought a house, I became a teacher, did 2 college courses, got another house. I'm on my 4th business license, and all that's great. But something that I hadn't done was get to know myself. And I've actually been seeing, I haven't let anybody live with me for 4 years now. And I never planned that either. My kids they just said, dude, you picked some stupid ass people to date, basically, bro. And they were just like, you gotta stop. And it mattered to me. And I was supposed to take a year from dating, and it's now 4. It's been a little over 4. It was 4 years last year on the night or last month on the 19th, and that's just crazy to me because it doesn't feel like 4 years at all. And this is the first time in my life that I've ever been single and lived alone and learned how to become a 9 of cups. I didn't know how to do that prior. I thought it was 50-50. And I realized that a lot of that comes from our parents' time. They kind of started it off, but in my opinion, it was more just about like they were supposed to look a certain way, and the man was supposed to have a farm, and the woman was supposed to milk fucking cow boobies or something, and fucking have kids. And in that day, to be honest, it was child labor, and basically on the farm. If you didn't have a farm, we already know how it was looked at in the old days. You were pretty much like not an honorable husband. You've let your family down, and then it went into the great Gatsby phase where women became an accessory of men, and then it goes into the straight rock and roll. You know, it just like escalates over this period of time from a state of people having control over people in general, whether it was man to women or the slaves or the Holocaust or friggin' hi baby, I love you, or even the natives, you know, being scalped for the land, you know, if you guys think about it. And that's what the Great Divide is about. That's why I announced it because I'm not into that stuff. I love all cultures and people, and so it's just pretty sad that people have to be controlling. But it's easy to figure out what's going on. I mean, these motherfuckers, they want the money, they want the land. It started about money and land, and God didn't give money and land to anybody. He didn't even require it to be a thing. He straight up said be naked. So I don't know why y'all be reporting me for taking my clothes off. Stop doing that because you're gonna go to hell. You have to get in trouble for Jesus from that. He wanted us to be naked and not judge each other. And he said, "Oh my gosh, are you fucking kidding me, Tara?" I'm a fucking Jesus. Anyways, yeah, you know, think about it. Think back to God. He literally, even according to all these fucking weird stories, you know, everybody that believes in this so-called God we trust in the most, I've actually went against God, in my opinion, the most. The Christian people are the ones that stand underneath of this fucking God stuff, and they are greedy with money, and they are greedy with the land. In my opinion, if you were to think about God as a business owner, and he gave somebody earth, if you think about even the state lines, the squiggles, it's devastating. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I did that. Anyways, just think about it as a fucking business, dude. So basically, everybody that sat there and like in the States, you remember how they stabbed the flags in the earth and they claimed land? I just think about that as a business. So what'd you do? Did you fucking knock a hole in the wall right there and say that that was your fucking business building or whatever? Because like, it was actually God's. And God literally says on the 10 Commandments in their own shit, this is their stuff. I'm open-minded to all religions. I think there's beauty. And you know what? After I looked into it personally, I felt as though with all religions, all things were possible. Not with one religion are all things possible. It takes all religions for all things to be possible. And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't matter whose God or religion you're involved in. It just remember what matters is that you have something that is invisible. Your higher power just needs to be non-tangible for the reason that it can't be taken from you. It's something that you can't see and touch because everything that you can't see and touch can be taken. So it's just like all about how you look at it. And then also like God doesn't want people to be mean to each other either. So it's just like I don't know, it takes a lot. It truly takes a lot to get where you need to be, God wise. And so it's like I said, it's already been 4 years and I'm just learning. I just keep learning and learning and learning and I just love it. I wasn't able to do that because when you're dealing with love, there's this kind of stuff going on where they're taking things from you and they're just not making sense. And you can't really be that mad at everybody for this because what do you really got to think right now? What do we got really realistically? Maybe like a 5% ratio of people that could possibly out there maybe be pure completely. And then it just makes you think too, all the people that are staying with people that don't get along and that know it's not working, they're keeping somebody's soulmate from somebody's person. I don't know. I just think deeply about it. And I think at this time, guys, right now, I think a lot of people are still like kind of meant to like maybe get to know themselves a little bit more so that we have some options that can open up as far as dating. Right now, I don't think there's a lot of options because we're hurting inside, you know? And I realized that I needed to heal too. I needed to heal. And I realized that, fuck, dude. I realized in between, like we always say, oh, stay single for a year. But being single for any amount of time or any amount of time, it doesn't change you, it just ages you. Being single requires you to experience different things. It's making that memory that makes you sit there and space off, whether it is good or bad. But when you're doing things that are different with different people, you find yourself actually enjoying it sometimes. When I was a young mom with the kids when they were younger, I always did the same with them. I consider the age group of 12 and under to be a very specific time. If you're dating somebody who has kids 12 and under, it's a very specific time and it should be taken seriously. And so if you are in a relationship with anyone who has kids that are not yours, you should not disrespect the fact that those kids are going to learn everything that you and her do together. From the ages 0 to 5, everything that a child hears and sees creates the foundation of their personality type. And from the ages of 0 to 7, you're not supposed to tell a child anything that they do is like, you're not supposed to yell at them or tell them that they do things wrong because that is their key time for you to teach them what they did and how to do it correctly. So if all you do is yell at your child and be like, what the fuck did you do that for, dude? Why do you always do that? For one, body type, your body gets accustomed to the rush of your approach, a parent's approach. You know when your parents scare you when you're going to get in trouble? That is a child's high. And so even though it's a state of fear, they've never been more afraid. Their body's never given them more anxiety. That's their top of their level of elevation within themselves. So they actually continue to think of that as the most like effective way to get your attention. So that's why your child actually continues to do fucking shit that pisses you off because you only respond or seem to elevate them in that feeling, which they don't understand what they're feeling. They even, and that's crazy to me because this child's getting into trouble, but your body doesn't separate good and bad from the rush that it feels. That's why people get addicted to both lows and highs, period. And that's why it's very important that you keep yourself and everyone around you as much as you can, kind of in that middle zone, because your body will always be used to now feeling that fucking depressed or that fucking excited. And those are just things that you just need to learn. It's not really, and this is turning your back on people thing in the reverse. This came up last night too, and I feel like it's not a time to turn your back on anyone anymore because the whole world is becoming affected. And even in the tarot world, it's saying straight up that we have become portals for the demons. And that's already been a thing. We know that, I already knew that if you use drugs, the darker you get, that's where people start to see spirits. They do see spirits a lot of times when they're on a lot of drugs. I feel like I've seen them too. Straight, I'll tell you, dude, a straight fucking thing I have, dude. After my sister died, we fucking bought this double wide, dude. And we were over there in the trailer park, dude, waiting to move it over to my mom's property. And I was high, to be honest. And my sister was dead also. So there I got two fucking types of grief. Very deep grief. And, dude, I fucking look over, dude, and it looks like some guy is literally on his hands and knees by my bedroom door. I assumed it's my brother fucking with me, dude. And literally, dude, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Colton. And it, no joke, just fucking sit on its hands and knees. There's creepy shit like a fucking movie, dude. Didn't even move. Straight still as fuck, dude. That was weird for my brother, you know what I mean? So I fucking go to get out of the bed, dude, and it fucking flinched backwards. And I fucking said, what the fuck, dude? Ran over to my closet, flicked loud, nothing there, dude. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I already was high, so I was like, what the fuck, motherfucker, did I just experience? But to me, even looking back, I'm still getting anxiety about it. And literally, dude, how many times do you fucking see that shit? And not only just that one time, it's not like I looked over and thought of seeing something. No, it's like a whole experience. Creepy shit, even the flinching, weird. Anyways, I get in bed, dude. I shit you not, dude. I felt something touch my fucking foot, dude. I look up, dude. There was a straight fucking, that boy was standing there, dude. Black boots, blue jeans, and a button-up shirt, dude. Never fucking, no, I'll never forget it, dude. My son, dude, same shit, dude. Moved into this other apartment. He was like, fuck, his sister's, he was like 2. He was like 2 years old. 2.5 years old. It's like our 3rd day there. And he wakes me up, dude. Now I'm creeped out. What if it was that same fucking boy, dude? I don't even know, dude. I never even compared that two together. This was years later, dude, because when I first seen that fucking one boy, my sister died in 01. So I was 14 then, so I was like maybe 15 when I saw that fucking shit. And literally, dude, we're in this other apartment, dude. This is, so I have Skylar. I'm like 20 at this point. So 5 years later, dude, and I never even thought, I've never even thought about these two boys being the same boy until right now. That's creepy shit, dude. What if that fucking thing followed me around? Anyways, dude, Skylar's literally in bed with me, dude, at 2.5, and he wakes me up in the middle of the night, dude. It's pitch black, dude, in there. Don't ask me what time it is. I'm not going to be a weirdo and say it was 3 a.m. like in movies. I don't fucking know, dude. He said, Mom, who is that? I said, who? He said, over there. He's pointing right at my fucking closet, dude. I just didn't even fucking, I just felt like in my heart, like I fucking knew he was fucking looking at something, dude. I said, is it a boy or a girl, dude? He said, it's a boy. I said, it's nobody, dude. Let's just go back to sleep. And fucking, dude, I shit you not, for months after that, dude. He would sit on the couch, dude, looking at my stairway that went up to that same fucking bedroom, dude. He would just sit there, boy, 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 boy. Over and over, dude. Another time with the, like in the same apartment, downstairs closet, dude. And it was pretty big. It was pretty deep. I was pregnant with the twins at the time, and so my water broke early. I had to be flown in a fucking helicopter, dude. And literally, dude, my brother was watching my son, and he said he heard him talking even in the closet downstairs, and that when he asked him who he was talking to, he said he was talking to the boy. So you guys might actually have kids that say that shit. You might have felt like you've seen it, and I totally didn't. I don't really care to see ghosts, but some of you guys may be getting more and more abilities to talk with ghosts. Period. I don't look into it much. It just freaks me out. I don't look into it. I just have had a few different experiences with it. Some of you guys are going to find that you're going to be elevating to the 5D right now. And that's what you need to be focusing on. From what I'm feeling like, seems like there's a lot of other powers out there that we could have access to. I've never fucked with magic. But I got a lot of magicians in my family. They do dark magic, though. Even my grandma, she has a vanity closet. You know, the one that usually has tea kettles. My grandma has witchcraft shit. And even though my mom says she's against it, she must have fucked with it because she has a story about her and her friends messing with the Ouija board. A Ouija board. I always call it the Luigi board. You know, I played Mario, but I don't know. I've never played with that shit because I don't want no dark entities. But my dad, you know, he likes to carve fucking spirits and shit into sticks that are pretty creepy. No joke. I usually don't let his weird shit come into my house because he does a lot of portals, I think, through pictures. A lot of his pictures have eyes deep into them and they keep going deeper. You know those little posters that have, if you keep staring, you know, you get spaced off. You know, we used to look at them in elementary school, but my dad likes demonic shit. They all do. This is one of his carvings. It's the only one I've kept in that, but you can see here, every carving is very demonic. And I blessed them. I just kissed them all and said that they're part of our group because my dad died in December, but usually I don't let it stick. This is the shit he would carve for my kids. He'd be like, here you guys go. Here's your walking stick. And I'm like, Dad, stop fucking giving the kids demons. Yeah, creepy shit, dude. But whatever, dude. Yeah, I usually don't keep them in here, but everyone will have a different face and it just goes deeper and deeper. He does a lot of artwork. He did pass. I worry about him sometimes just because, you know, they say, you know, I had a dream when my dad died. Actually, I forgot about that. It was a really weird dream. I called it the Metal Man. And in this dream, there was this huge metal monster and it was magnetic, and he was actually in my dad's shop, and my dad was into just creating all these creepy things, you know, when he was high. And I know when you're high, you're coming from a dark space. And so honestly, I also know that I feel like he trapped souls, to be honest. I really could see him being evil. I mean, you know, and that breaks my heart. And in the dream, the monster was magnetic and all of his creations kept flinging to him and attaching to him. And the monster, he was actually a good person. Like, he looked upset. He looked like he didn't want that stuff touching him. He was trying to swarm it off. But I knew in my dream it was because my dad had created that stuff. Like, I could totally see, I know he did, because he has these really deep and creepy and weird writings that are very just dark spirited. And I got a message about the 4D before he even died. I'd never heard about the 4D. But for those of you who don't know, the 4D is right next to us. We're on the 3D. And it's actually a blend of both heaven and hell, oddly. And I never knew that. You would think probably if out of the 12 realms, maybe heaven would be at the top and hell would be at the bottom, but it's not. It's actually separated into 4 different levels. And the darkest and the most scariest demons are actually the one closest to Earth. So those are level 1 and 2. And so in the movies, you can just picture when the spirits are like pushing and it looks like they're coming out of that stuff and they're like, and their faces are like up against it. That's like how close they are to us. They say that it's based off of your vibes. Whether you're feeling depressed or angry, if those spirits that are pressing can access your soul. And how they become, what are portals, what are gateways? It's your actions, your energy. It's how you talk to people, how you feel. So whenever our vibes are low, Yes, dark entities and spirits they're definitely right next to you. They're already right next to all of us. So just be aware of that. There's been some really odd stuff happening in Spokane, you guys. I don't know about your town, but we've had about 8 different mothers actually take the lives of their all of their children and their pets, and then selves. And the husband's been coming home and finding. That seems pretty odd to me, and it seems pretty demonic, in my opinion. Another, basically, what's happening in our town, it's like a scary movie. It's the children and the pets, and then the mom's doing it, and then she's off on herself. And basically, yeah, they're taking the father. I feel like it all just makes sense because the pets and the children are what would actually give us clues that there would be any spirit here. It's the pets and children that see spirits. So if they were to take their warnings out, and then what would take a man out? Wondering why his wife or how his wife could have done that. So if you think about it, we have no warning and we have no warrior anymore at that point. That's pretty strategic. And it makes actually no logical sense if we're coming in from any human standpoint. That seems really demonic. Another thing that these sets of parents did over here, if you guys look it up, all of the homicides and shit, our parents, it's the mother doing it to the kid out of nowhere. We don't have that shit around here very much. Dude, what the fuck? The last time I even heard about a mother killing kids was that fucking chick, that Casey, I don't even know what her name is, but she was all over the news and she's not even from here. It happens very rarely, right? It's happening mass all of a sudden, all the same shit. And then another set of parents supposedly burnt their house down with their kids and pets inside, and they were standing outside just looking at it, saying that they couldn't get to any of them, but they saved their own life. Pretty weird. They didn't even seem fucking freaked out. There's no way in fucking hell that two parents got out and no one of the thing got out of that house. So basically, yes, it's pets and children. That seems really weird. So it's just not really a time, I think, to be worrying about hurting yourself more. You're going to know when you're ready for love because you will just... Well, I thought I was even on a date a while ago, you guys. But that's why I brought up that fucking under 12 age kid thing. Because my kids are about grown. I only have a couple more years with my daughter. Creative solutions. And I realized I didn't know if I wanted to do that whole new 10 and under path. So if you're not somebody who wants to go to Easter egg hunts and go trick or treating and go to a lot of kid birthday parties and also just deal with the kid basically going and telling their real parent, the mom or the dad, whoever's not there, that you said fuck. Or maybe like the only thing I got a complaint about was that Tara came over and she was really loud. So I guess they had school the next morning. That still affected me. I didn't want to be in a situation. I realized it hit me all of a sudden. Damn. I don't want to be the fucking bad step parent. Why the fuck did you even invite me over? You know, I realized that fucking I should have been quiet, I guess. But like literally, that's what will happen. That kid's going to go tell their grandparents or their mother or their father everything. Everything that you do. And something that's a concern is that step parents are actually legally known for the most number one abuser of children in the USA, other than trafficking. But that's a problem because if a kid says anything that you do ever, you're going to get investigated, period. A kid can say you did anything, and by law, they will look into you, and you're going to literally be fucking investigated for fucking hurting a child. And so you can't do shit, you know, and I don't want to do shit to a child. But there's a lot of fucking little kids that fucking are just as scandalous as their fucking parents. And, you know, you got to really ask yourself, are you able to 100% commit to the 12 and under kid age group dating thing? You don't want to piss a kid off, okay? They fucking will sit there and ruin your life. They will make it to where you can't fucking date their parent nicely. They'll talk shit to you fucking to the other parent. And they will also say to a lot of people that you're supposedly mean to them. And you will get looked at and looked into. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying it'll happen to you. I'm just saying that if you're somebody who has a history of dating immature women, or toxic women or karmic women, this is stuff that you're going to have to think about. And the guy that I dated wasn't even toxic or karmic. He was really nice, but it still will be a thing. You need to have creative solutions. It says think outside of the box. And that's what I was going to say. You might want to just try completely something different. I realized in that moment that this guy's great. I even made a tarot card for him. I wrote safe and comfortable. This guy makes me feel safe and comfortable. And I thought, why wouldn't you want that, Terry? Well, a lot of reasons. When the fucking trick-or-treating came around, I don't want to go trick-or-treating. And I realized my kids are almost grown. And literally, if I return to this fucking 10 and under thing with respect, not that the kids didn't deserve a stepmom, but they didn't need a mom. And I honestly, that would have put me doing 20 years of the 10 and under. And it's a committed thing. You do. You're going to a lot of arts and crafts nights at the school. And you do. It's not about, oh, it's not my kids. You do it. Because that's just what the kids actually need for their brain to develop the proper way. So if you have somebody, if you're somebody who has kids too, you got to take that seriously. I'm not going to lie, at 9 is pretty much your last year with the kids. At 9 years old, my kids decide, I like to push it to 12 because I have hope. The little fuckers, we were best friends, man. They're doing their own thing. They get big around 9, they start to want to do different things. I don't know. I'm more of a 2 to 10 person. Some people like babies. I don't care for the baby stage at all. I don't fucking like anything crying around me or fucking pooping. So I'm more of a 2 to 10. But actually the baby people don't really care for the toddler thing. And so you're going to find where you're at with your life and kids. I think it is a section type thing. I don't think anybody really cares for kids the whole way fucking through. Some people might like the teens because then you can take your son fucking hunting and shooting. Some people might like the fucking baby stage because they say they don't like people talking back. And some are going to like the 2 to 10 stage because I just thought they were fucking awesome. And they cracked me up. And they're just fun to be around. They're innocent. And I just loved it very much. So those are things also that you're going to have to look into. And from my experience, there are thousands and thousands of clients. That's been a thing too. So if you're even somebody who's like, I don't even know. Maybe in the beginning you didn't feel like you even wanted to be a mom for some of you. Maybe you didn't. That's the thing too. There's things called postpartum depression and shit. You have divine potential. Fulfill your destiny and be all you can be. And that's really all of that we can do at this point. This is a time of change. This is the Great Divide. And the Great Divide was something that I announced because it has been honestly embarrassing. And it's been really terrible to think about how they've destroyed God's earth. It's like, just picture the states as graffiti and spray paint. God didn't say anything about states. So if God was a business owner and he was speaking through us right now, he would say, why did you take that flag and stab a hole in my earth right there that day and claim it to be theirs? Whoever the first man that claimed any piece of land to be his, he also stands underneath. Isn't it crazy how they stand underneath the "In God We Trust"? Literally, dude. And then they write this book and they, no joke, decide out of nowhere there's a government system. Okay? And they straight up, in fact, say we have to respect the system. That does not, God, they write their own story, bro. Just like they did when they voted for Trump, when they threw him off and then voted him back. They hooray, they do circles. They hooray, they do circles. Everyone in charge is actually a circle doer. I don't know how many people on Terra really actually probably vote. I don't. It's like all of them repeat their own cycle of stuff. And we have 70% of the world proven that you can literally just kind of like, they just go with the flow of everything else. And those people, they think that they're winning and they think that they're smart, but they're the ones that voted for Trump, even for example, in the first place. But then when Trump didn't write, it basically had Trump responded differently about the COVID and his opinion about it, which I can already tell you why Trump didn't respond the way that he did, because he's not a medical person. I'm not a medical person either. but I still study business and I study customer service and I study personality types. And so that's how I know these things. Trump made a weird face expression. Had he been on top of it and he understood that the people actually, the majority of the world cares about medical, they're really big on it. And even the elderly, anyone who is responsible and has a dollar in the bank takes care of their health. So if you're smart and you know which generations you focus on for what, like let's say you're trying to sell a bunch of shit, you're definitely gonna want to blend in with the youngest generation, 30 and under, because those are the ones who want to still be cool. They're the ones that can talk their moms and dads into buying shit. They're the ones that fucking want to be popular, pretty, beautiful. And naturally, when you get above 30 is when you start seeing your first grays, your wrinkles, your stretch marks, you're having reality sink in a little bit. And so that's where you go into the middle age, right there. And also at 40 is when you go through your straight menopause, your midlife crisis, and at 40 your brain is at its time when it very first ever will feel truly bad for the things that you've ever done wrong. So if you guys look up your brain and gender and age, just say, what is my brain doing and feeling right now? I'm 29 and I am a female. And same with a male. Doesn't matter what age you are, do it. No shit, the brain actually, it has a fucking straight yearly program. I guess our body, dude, it's crazy. So that's what I teach in college. I did not know that was going to be I ended up getting the laws and the safety and health. I did OSHA, human resources. I ended up getting all this awesome shit, dude. And in my class, actually, like, one of my classes is literally the human body. And it goes all the way to just like mental health to fucking scabies and lice. It's literally the muscles. I mean, and like literally the more I learn, the brain no shit has a fucking yearly program, guys. Look it up. That's why I'm telling you the kids 0 to 5, 0 to 7 shit. I had no clue. They're not even supposed to fucking have kids until 26 to 30. Your brain is not developed. Who the fuck would have known? Fuck. Don't be so hard on yourself, you guys. No shit, dude. It has a yearly shit. And every decade you go through a hormone change. So that's like, you're going to start feeling just different. And that makes sense because when we were 10, we didn't feel 20. So it's like, sometimes after we turn 18, we get really hard on ourselves. We start thinking that fucking we got to be like one way or the other. But guys, most of that is derived from our childhood. That's why they recommend us go to college and get some space between family. Because when you don't have that sense of independence and you're coming from a state of I'm gonna fucking have a better relationship than my parents, or if you have parents that are like, you need to do it like this, that's even a sense of that. There's plenty of people. I had my mom on my shoulder until 26 was the first year. I fucking was like, I can't deal with this bitch any fucking more. My mom is my strong fucking parent. She is a Karen, and it was her and my man 24/7. Which decision was I gonna make 24/7? And honestly, both of them were bringing me down. I didn't have respect for myself even at that point, because anytime you stay with somebody and literally it's not going well, we don't have respect for ourselves because we didn't fucking leave. Nobody deserves to be disrespected, period. And I started to realize that. I was like changing my life and things were improving. Like I said, I graduated college, I bought a house. My relationships would improve, but basically it went from like crazy to fucking different. It wasn't even less crazy. Like by the time I left Zeke, shit was crazy. He was pulling guns on me and in front of my kid and fucking literally fucking spun the rail and was asking me if I want to play Russian roulette, and that motherfucker would shoot it, dude, through the fucking floor of the house and shit. And I had PTSD real bad too. I would like always fear he was gonna do like come up behind me and choke me out. Like he would choke me out all the time, and literally I would wake up completely unconscious on the floor. And I thought to myself, dude, like, and I didn't tell anybody either, because the last time I told my mom, she called CPS on me with my last boyfriend. And so I ended up obviously getting everything done, but I was scared to tell anybody after that. I also had a mentor at work, and she claimed we should never tell anybody anything. She would basically picture like this fucking wannabe fucking old day mentor type leader. Like, but she was an evil leader, like the one in like My Little Princess that ran the school or something. But she would basically say things like, never complain ever out loud about anything that's going on because it's embarrassing, you know? And she would also say, unless you're willing to fix it, don't say it out loud, which made sense because you're kind of making yourself look stupid because you're not fixing it. But that made it to where we were taught to never shame ourselves and talk about the abuse that was going on at home because it would ruin our status in the public. I was the manager of the school and the junior and sophomore teacher a lot of times, and I loved her very much. But I had a very beautiful student named Miranda, and she was gorgeous. I mean, shit, I would have been happy to be her. And she walked up to me one day and she told me that someday, she said, Miss Dana, someday I hope to have a relationship like you and Zeke have. I had played it off so fucking well that my students dreamed of having what I had, and I was literally being strangled unconscious. And that's the day I changed my life. I stopped hiding that I was CPS involved. I stopped hiding that I was in an abusive relationship. I never wanted to be an example. And I also felt disgusted with the woman who I looked up to and that was our manager at the time. And it was my choice to listen to her. But in that moment, for one, my boss that in that chapter, I had 10 years clean. I obviously had set such a standard that, you know, my clients at the school, they didn't even believe I cussed. They laughed at me and they said I could never, oh, please, you know. But like, that's pretty good. And I was in a very unhappy relationship with Zeke. He did not sexually satisfy me. And I was very kind to him even in that chapter. I never cheated, and I also never told him that he didn't satisfy me. The whole time he was very abusive, and I asked myself, you know, towards the end, why did you stay? And I thought I was comparing. I was comparing relationships. You know, I was in an abusive relationship from the time I was born with my parents. Then I got with James, and we got pregnant, and we're on a lot of bad stuff. And I ended up here in the first place, arrested, hiding a baby in my tummy until 5 months. I couldn't hide it anymore. And, you know, I just look back at all these things, but like everything that was bad led me here. And my boss that I was learning from during that chapter, which was a great chapter of my life, but he hung himself and I found him at work and it really messed me up. But once again, I did some outstanding things in the end. I left Zeke. After I found my boss, I was very sick. And what I was feeling like was what felt like my equilibrium was off. And I found out there was something called an equilibrium within us. I ended up graduating the class that I was with at the time, and then I went to manage other salons, and I thought maybe if I pulled myself out of the environment, which can be compared to dating and changing relationships, I thought I'll just do something different. I'll go manage other places and other schools. But nothing made me feel better. I did leave Zeke. He was not somebody who was healthy for me. The whole time I was sick with Martin, he was drunk. He was the bedroom that I was in at the time in our last house. The floor and the window were at the perfect level to have a great view of the backyard where our fire pit was. And every day that I was sick in that house, I not only didn't have any money in savings, go lay down, to take time off of work. but he just didn't seem to be aware of how sick I was. And I wasn't blaming him. I just realized in that moment, holy shit, dude. No matter what you have feeling right now, you like, I was very sick. I realized that that's why we needed to put God first. Because you can do everything right. The goal to do things right, or the overall end result of doing things right, has nothing to do with you having to keep. You don't get to keep anything. No matter how good I did everything the way that I was told to do it by all these people. I realized I was a fucking puppet, literally, to everybody, even Martin at that point. He had came and found me multiple times for years straight and asked me to come work that job. I was working at a different location, and no, he was very adamant about me working there, and it took him a couple of years of begging me to come. But I went back and did the course, and I did come. But I look back at that and I think, the fuck. And according to his documents, he was in a lot of debt, and he was struggling with addiction. Because I'm smart when people die, and that's what I grabbed was his documents. So I always like to know what's going on. I was grateful, even though it really fucked me up, to be the one to fucking find him, because there was 3 other teachers that offered to go, and I know the situation of their circumstances and their emotional status. And one of them was just a new mom. The other one spooked all the time in general, never handled shit. And the other one's a complete fucking bad alcoholic. And so, I mean, fuck, dude. Sometimes you're gonna be the one that has to take that fucking, shit. It fucked me up, dude, bad. For like, dude, 4 to 6 years. I left Zeke. I fucking turned off my number. Fucking moved. Bought this house. And I fucking dipped to Alaska. I went to the Bering Sea. Who the fuck? I never planned any of that. I never planned Martin to die. But I healed. I let go. I feel like every time I see the Fool card, I think about that. Because you can only take one bag to the Bering Sea. And you're not supposed to bring suitcases. It's fisherman's bad luck or something. So, fuck it. I'd bought in this house, and 5 days later, Zeke came home with a hickey from his best friend's baby mama. And that entire fucking piece of land over there apparently wasn't mine. It was the neighbor's. He told me. He walked down and said, "That's my land." Fucking A. So I have lost my boss. I have bought a house. I kicked Zeke out because he came home with a hickey. And apparently half my land. And I sat there and I just thought, fucking A. And I was higher than shit. I was very sick. Very sick. I fucking was raging, dude, one night. I came home. This is how I know grief and addiction are very, very, very strong. I went to the bar. I don't know. This is the first time I've ever blocked out. And I came home and I punched dude, I don't even know how I got lucky enough to. I at least opened the windows, but I punched every fucking screen out of all the fucking upstairs windows, and I started screaming into the sky for Martin. And Zeke was here. And he tried to comfort me, but I didn't want him. And I wasn't in love with Martin at all. It was just that I thought it was my way out. I was using it as my way out. I was using it as that chapter where I thought, this is the best chapter that you've been. And that's what I mean by comparing chapters. I started to realize that I'd never been my real self. And God doesn't say to put him first because he's selfish. He's just saying it for this reason. Because they said if I was clean, if I do everything right, if I keep all my business to myself, da 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 da, they gave me all these recommendations. But what if Miranda had actually taken my advice and now she's with an abusive man who strangles her unconscious because I made it seem like that was a good relationship? That's all that actually would have happened, I realized. And so I just wanted to be honest one day. And so I took a picture of the bridge, and I actually live underneath of this fucking bridge. And when I came into town handcuffed, I saw this bridge. And I just always remembered the view down here. And I always thought it was a special and beautiful view. And I ended up buying a house down here. And so that's just funny. But I took a picture of that bridge and I just uploaded the story about that. And it was voluntary that I came up here, but it was trickery too. I was supposed to go to prison that day. I was a little troublemaker after I straight fucking apparently decided not to be a lawyer and left and ran away in an Astro van out of nowhere with James, but God knows what he's doing. I went from being a straight A student and doing law to fucking a straight pregnant fucking convict running away with James in an Astro van. What? But I'm telling you, this is what God's work is. And yeah, I ended up getting some charges, and they told me straight up, bitch, you violated a probation thing from previously, and I was pregnant with Halo. And they said you can't be, I guess you can't be in jail like more than 6 months pregnant. They have to transfer you to a different facility. It's like, I don't know, some kind of rule like that. And so I get news that if I get charged, I'm going to go have Halo in a prison called Purdy. And you can look it up. I just confirmed it the other day since this story was coming to my brain. But sure shit, dude, you can, I guess, go to Purdy and have your kid for a little while in there. I couldn't even have imagined that. So I called my mom and I'd heard about a place up here, the Isabella House. Some of the girls in jail told me about it. They said it was a 6-month inpatient and that you could have your baby there. And that it was CPS approved. And it was a place where you had the right or opportunity, if you did the right things, to get your kid and keep the kid, close your CPS case. So my mom, she was actually a real big champion for me, man. She's done everything for us. She just has dealt with us one after the next being troublemakers. My dad, if you guys watch my other videos, talks about just his lifestyle and how we've learned a lot. And my mom, she divorced him when we were 4, but you can imagine we've just been little hellions a lot for her since. But she's fucking a diehard for us, dude. And she gets me into this facility. And I go to court that day, and actually they couldn't find any evidence on me, and I end up walking. But CPS knows I had a great worker, Mike. And he meets me at the jail before they release me. And I didn't say anything during this meeting, but he just dead ass stares right into my eyes and he tells me, Tara, basically, you fucking motherfucker, basically, without cussing it out. But he had gotten pissed. He was just tired of me getting this luck after luck. They were banking on me getting caught between DOC, CPS, my mom. They kept trying. And I kept fucking thinking I was getting away. Thinking. And he just told me straight up, bro, you can get out today, you little... But I'll tell you what, he said, you fuck up one time, dude. One more time. And I had 4 months till she was due. He said he'd be right there at the hospital to fucking pretty much be the delivery doctor and take her right when she was born. So I had 2 choices that day. I could have gone out and went to my apartment and stayed in town. But let's be honest here. I'd already graduated 15 treatment centers. I'm going to pay all them back, guys, for taking the state money and not fucking taking it seriously. Don't worry. Because I did. I got straight A's. I mean, I could always get straight A's. I was a straight A student. But I wasn't going to treatment because I wanted to. I was going because CPS was telling me I had to. I was going because my mom kept calling cops on me. And I was going because DOC was going to put me in jail. Sure. I think in a way we all want to get better. But when you're in the middle of addiction and you're addicted to your partner too, it's what your heart wants. It is like Selena said. It's very deep shit. And I wanted James very much. And we were very young. And we were 20 and we had all of a sudden gotten pregnant with twins. And it was pretty crazy. And then Halo too. And we'd actually both were on DOC at that point. And they had actually made it a violation and said straight up me and James could not fucking be together. Or we would go to jail for 30 days. So we were like what I feel like Romeo and Juliet's. It was crazy. It was like big trouble. James is dead today. He didn't live. He died in 15. And I'm just grateful to be alive and out of that town, and I did go. I decided to go that day. And that is why I'm up here. And that is how my life changed. And Halo's still in my care. You know, that I closed the case and things worked out. But after that, I dated again. I think I stayed. I obviously didn't date while I was in treatment and shit. So I had it was 2 9-monthers. After 9 months, they actually call the ninth month in NA or AA the caution month, and it seems pretty accurate. A couple different times during month 9, I had a relapse, and I didn't get full custody of my other kids, but I did get what they call third party agreement. So I'm basically a baby daddy, and I have two up here, and then my mom has twins. I pay child support just fine. I'm just grateful to still have some rights and, you know, be where I am today. And it took about 12 years for me to get over the fact that I didn't have full custody. It made me feel like a piece of shit. But I realized that I feel like God did that for me so that I had some time to go to college and have a career and become a teacher and do what I'm doing now for a living and buy this house and provide for my family. And it wouldn't have been something that I could probably have done with 4 little kids. And Zeke, I'm not completely I definitely just wish that we would all have self-respect. And what I can tell you that I learned from Zeke, you guys, is that if something's going wrong in your relationship in the beginning, it's going to finish off strong with the same damn shit. Nothing changed with the problems that we had. We both agreed to get clean and sober. He didn't do any of it. He was a rager the whole fucking time. I got sober for almost a decade. But I just told myself, because I was sober and maybe I graduated school and I became a teacher. Like I said, that was what I was talking about, doing circles, man. I would get clean and sober, change my relationship, and then I would throw myself into some fucking extreme fucking career project. And overall, you know what I realized in the end, guys? Martin was fucking struggling with mass addiction, and so was Zeke. So if you're not fucking paying attention, dude, you can be doing everything right, but you're still fucking surrounded by idiots. It's being the coolest loser. And whether you're doing it because you didn't notice it, or you fear fucking if people are gonna judge you if you try to elevate, or if fucking you got a bunch of dead ass weight holding you back because we're codependent. And I didn't know that. These are all words that just keep coming to me. My Aunt Barb said that one time. She said, I know what your problem is, Tara. You don't want a man. You need one. I was like, damn, Auntie, what the fuck? But she was right. And then Edward got lippy one day and tried to tell me I was codependent. And so I looked it up, and sure shit, I was. I was codependent on the idea that a relationship was something that we needed to have in our life, because that is what my cousin Paul laughs at me and says is the American way. And it's like, that's what society is doing. That's what society says. That's what your parents might have said. That's maybe what you dreamed up because you saw some shit in your childhood that you either loved or you hated. But where are these ideas coming from? And who are really you? And I think one of the best ways that you're going to figure out fucking how love will be good for you is think about why you broke up with somebody. And you need to implement that in your dating now. For example, one of the ways I broke up with somebody or found them very unattractive is because they didn't know how to use power tools. I grew up on a farm. And so if I can get beautiful and wear heels and use power tools, I'm really big on somebody knowing how to do all things. It's like that with a career. I've always been like that because I feel like you're a VIP at that point. If you're somebody who knows how to fix the tech stuff, anything, everything, I like to do it all because it's a sense of like knowledge. And I just take pride in that personally. And so I don't expect anybody to be like me. But for me, being also masculine, go take your toy and please give me some space. With me being masculine a lot, I feel like it's more of a survival thing. If somebody was more strong than I am or smarter than I am, then I would admire that. I am not somebody who gets jealous if I see it. I just don't see it much. So I think that for me, I noticed that. I also made a decision that I don't want to date anybody with 12 and under because I'm not trying to not cuss. I don't want to do it. My kids are grown. They don't need me to even babysit them at all. I can do whatever I want. I can fly wherever I want. I can be gone for as long as I want. My son is over 18, so him and his girl can stay here whenever they want. They don't need me to watch them. And so if I were going to date somebody with kids, then I am not. I want to travel and just make love and literally eat food and kind of like have fun and drink and go save, like go travel around the world. And I'm thinking about doing the nonprofit thing and doing all these fun things that I have invested my time into. And so, realistically, that would not make sense because the kids wouldn't be able to travel around and do all. Nothing about that would make sense. And I also have no desire whatsoever to like go Easter egg hunting or trick or treating or any of that. I already did all that. My kids were in private sports. They had a great life. And my mom has a great life with them as well. She has them in 4-H and they get to be on the farm out there, so they learn great work ethic together. Her and I have actually raised the kids really well. And my son has his dad, and we work together very well too. So that whole chapter went actually very well, other than us fighting. And yeah, everything worked out fine. It really did. And that's all done for me. So just make sure that you're just like finding out what you really want as a person. And you don't want a page, baby. You don't. You want somebody that can take great care of you. And you're going to find that in our group. Dream big, exactly. In our group, this is a group of lovers. In our group, the light workers in our group, the villain bloods, because you're a villain blood now. But the villain bloods are different. So the villain bloods are pretty much like a bunch of troublemakers, and we are just trying to be as good as we can be, and that's all that we try to do. We don't judge each other for different addictions in this group, and we understand that we are love makers. We don't worry about necessarily the only thing, like, we're not really like committed or nothing like that. Like in our group, I picture us having islands where we're just like, as long as you're not disrespecting each other, we're going to be having a good time and we're going to be making a lot of love. And we're just going to be focusing on our spirituality. And in our group, we're mermaids. Yep, told you, pleasure. Because this is that time. So don't worry. And peace. That's all it's about. And so if you can remove your need to feel like you have to attach yourself, um, and you can start to try to enjoy yourself, and then know that there's a lot more of that out there. God will guide things to you. Put your love binoculars away and just know that, start separating the fact that you love these people and just look at it like, for one, they love you. Start turning it around. These people love me. Look at, he's like, it's all me. Like, don't make it an egotistical thing, but whether you're somebody that just understands you have a good heart and you wear your heart on your sleeve and that you fall in love easy and that it hurts you to see people go, you need to know that as an emperor, you have all people to take care of. Emperors look over empires. If you want to be a knight and you want to get emotional, do that. Knights are worth getting emotional. You can either be an emperor and straight receive love, because think about it from a king's point of view or a literal emperor's point of view. Do they not decide who they would like to come and have love from that day? Many women, for one, right? You don't have to have one. You don't have to have a wife in our group, but you do need to have sense of control over your emotions. Because if you're gonna get all fucking emotional after you fuck somebody, then maybe you shouldn't do that, and also maybe you shouldn't rule. Because if your head literally is like all distracted on some chick or dude, everybody's gonna know that you're a weak ass bitch and that you just got pimped out. Like, think about it. Who wouldn't laugh at you? If you don't have control over your motherfucking bitches, you're definitely not in your masculine energy. And that bitch probably just stole something. Why else would she have fucked you and then pimped you out and left? Did you pay her? Because if you didn't pay her, she was there for a reason, just so you know. And people are going to know that. Whoever sent her is going to know that. You guys got to be honest here. Let's think bigger. Think of it like a game, dude. You're getting played, whoever you are, over and over. And it's because you wear your heart on your sleeve, babe. I love you. Sexy pants.